Greetings. Now we shall discuss what is worst about death. Worse even than the irreplaceable loss of the contributions, the experiences, the memories of billions of individuals. Namely, what death does to you. Now, your only way of perceiving the world, of interacting with it, of reflecting upon it, is through your body, through the physical and chemical processes that occur within it. And provided that those processes remain functional to some extent, you are alive, you are able to interact with the world. When those processes stop, when enough of them shut down, you stop being able to perceive anything. You stop even being able to reflect on how sad it is that billions of other people are no longer able to communicate with us, no longer are we able to benefit from their contributions. Even the perception of that stops. So while it might be saddening to reflect on the deaths of others, eventually most of us go on with our lives. But this, your own death, is a blow from which you will never be able to recover. It is the worst conceivable thing that could happen to you, because not only will you not be sad, not only will you not be able to overcome anything, you will cease to exist as an individual. You will essentially enter a state of nothingness, oblivion. There are really no good words to describe this state, because our language is so object-oriented. It is so geared toward addressing things that exist, processes that exist. It cannot explain pure non-existence of the sort that an individual's life, the coherence of his organism, assume after death. Now, we can try a little bit of an experiment. Try to close your eyes. Close your ears. Shut them with your hands, perhaps. Try not thinking about anything. Try not feeling anything. Try somehow to not get the nerve endings on your skin to sense anything. Try it. Try not smelling anything. You'll realize quite quickly that what I'm asking you to do is an impossible task. There is no such state for human beings as a state of complete nothingness, complete non-sensation. It is absolutely inconceivable. Even when we sleep, even when we dream, we are marginally aware to some extent. Even when we're in a coma or we're under anesthesia, there is some very low level of functioning of bodily processes that keeps us alive. When that's gone, we cannot even conceive of this. Now, the human mind is wonderful, and the human senses are wonderful, in that, at least indirectly, they can give us accurate information about any datum of existence. Now, I'm not claiming that any single human being can understand everything there possibly is to know. I don't even believe necessarily that there is a finite amount of information to know. However, any particular question you ask, any particular datum of existence you try to figure out, some human's mind, using some kinds of instruments, some kinds of logical devices, will be able to find out the answer. Likewise, with any problem in the world, some human's mind, eventually, with some kinds of instruments and ideas, will be able to solve that problem. Except for one question. And that question is, what is it like to be dead? Well, that question is not answerable. That question is not answerable because it is actually a falsely constructed question. It presumes that to be dead is to be. Once again, our language is so oriented toward existence that it's very difficult for us to grasp that death is the opposite of being. It is complete non-being. It is the complete disintegration of the individual, the complete disintegration of everything we perceive, everything we think about, everything we experience. And I believe that that is the worst possible fate. Because even if you suffer greatly, even if you endure horrific pain, torture, sadness, perhaps because of the loss of loved ones, at least your body and your mind can struggle against that. At least, perhaps, if you're experiencing pain and torture, your desire to endure that, your desire to overcome it, shows some endurance of your individuality, some kind of resilience within you. Likewise, if you've suffered a tragedy, a loss in the family, and you're determined at once to overcome it and yet to remember the people that you've lost, that also shows that your individuality continues to endure, that you have not been destroyed by this. But death is synonymous to your own destruction. Essentially, when you die, that's it. You've lost. There's nothing more for you. There's no you. And to add to that, as I mentioned in the first part of this presentation, others don't remember you. At least they don't remember you at nearly the level of detail that would be necessary for an accurate impression. So that is, I believe, the most horrific part of death, the annihilation of the individual. Now, of course, this great, horrific fact was the reason why religions were invented. Most people cannot bear the thought of the finitude of their own very existence. And naturally, it's a very counterintuitive thought, because you exist now, you perceive the world now. So surely, you might say, this existence must continue indefinitely. Surely, this can't be all that there is to life. Surely there must be another world where you continue to live after you die, and perhaps it's a better world. Well, it's a comforting thought. However, I do not see any evidence for another world. I do not see any evidence that the processes that animate our minds, the physical and chemical processes that are responsible for our perceptions, our feelings, our experiences, last when our bodies disintegrate. Because the physical organism is the sum of these processes. So when the physical organism ceases to be and these processes cease to be, how can the result of these processes, namely human consciousness, continue? So death is it. Death is the end. And the sooner we face that reality, the more readily we can combat it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we shall go next.